right now the power supply of Dwarka has been shut down. All the villages of the lowland area have been evacuated, and all people are living in the shelter homes. They are not allowed to go outside for the next 24 hours as the cyclone is moving towards the Kutch and Jakho. So these kind of steps have been taken, and they are just now praying. Yesterday evening also Har Sangvi has prayed at the Lord Dwarkadish temple, but today Lord Dwarkadish temple has been closed because of the cyclone's effect, and no one is visiting right now. The city is empty right now because the advisory has been given that from today noon to tomorrow evening no one should go outside the home, and they have to be in the home only. So these kind of steps have been taken. Indian Army, Navy and Coast Guards are on the standby mode. At Okha port there are 15 ships and 7 rescue helicopters have been with the Indian Coast Guard, and they are just waiting for the landfall of the cyclone.
Okay, so the NDRF, the SDRF, the Coast Guard, everyone on standby. Also, the Indian Army and the Air Force has been kept on standby as well. The Defence Minister Rajnath Singh spoke to all 3 service chiefs as well in preparedness for Cyclone Biparjoy making landfall. Those are various images, viewers, that we're bringing to you from across the coastal districts of Gujarat, which are likely to face maximum brunt of Cyclone Biparjoy as it makes landfall this evening. The authorities are on standby at the moment. Our biggest team of reporters is on the ground, fearlessly reporting on all the evacuation that has already been done. Close to about 94,000 people have been evacuated from 8 coastal districts of Gujarat already. Several makeshift shelters have been built over the past couple of days where they are being kept safe. At the moment, there is, of course, anticipated damage to property. Trees are already uprooted because of the gusty winds which are being experienced in the area and in the region. You can already see the boats which have been left over there because all the fishermen folk have been asked to move away. There's been no fishing activity. They've been asked to leave, and they've been evacuated to safer places as well. Of course, they worry about their livelihood, but of course, life is paramount. Ashutosh is filing this live report from Mandvi. Let's listen in.
लैंडफॉल के बाद उस समय हाई टाइड की आशंका है. सबसे बड़ा इम्पैक्ट और रिस्क असेसमेंट में डैमेज किस तरह के प्रेडिक्शन है?
जब हाई टाइड आएगा वो 12 बजे का टाइम है. 12 बजे और अगर उस टाइम पे साइक्लोन दोनों मिक्स होते हैं तो उसका एक इम्पैक्ट रहेगा, वो ज़्यादा रहेगा.
और वो इम्पैक्ट गौरव ऐसा है कि दरअसल जो टेलीकॉम टावर्स हैं पूरी संभावना है कि वो गिरेंगे. रिस्क असेसमेंट के लिए सबसे पहले QRT लगाई गई थी. वो पेड़ जैसा इस समय शहर में 2-3 जगहों पर पेड़ गिरे, रास्ते बंद हुए, तो वहाँ सबसे पहले QRT भेजी गई ताकि रास्ते खुल जाएँ. जगह जगह पर एम्बुलेंस तैनात की गई है कि अगर कहीं मदद चाहिए, क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो लो लाइन इलाके से थोड़ा ऊपर पक्के घरों में रहते हैं, वो वहाँ से नहीं रहते हैं. लेकिन अगर कोई सिग्निफिकेंट डैमेज होता है तो उन तक मदद पहुँचाई जा सके, तो रास्तों को कोशिश की जा रही है कि वो बने रहें, वहाँ पर जो है किसी तरह की बंदिश ना हो, पेड़ ना गिरे. लेकिन कम्युनिकेशन टावर भी सबको रिस्टोर करना मुश्किल इसलिए भी होगा क्योंकि अभी शुरुआत स्टॉर्म की अपने केंद्र पर हुई है. परिधि में उसका असर हम देख रहे हैं, लेकिन इसकी इंटेंसिटी यानी पूरी तीव्रता जो आएगी वो 8-9 बजे के बाद आएगी, और तब ये 3-4 घंटे की जो साइक्लोनिक एक्टिविटी होगी उसी समय शहर में यहाँ पर हाई टाइड की भी संभावना है, और ऐसे में तब लो लाइन एरिया में जल जमाव भी हो सकता है. तो कुल मिला के आप ये समझिए कि मांडवी के लिए अभी बस चुनौतियाँ शुरू हुई है. इसका पीक आना भी बाकी है जिसमें कई घंटों का समय लगेगा. गौरव.
So that is, of course, Ashutosh who filed that live report from Mandvi, where cyclonic activity has already begun, and that is in fact already being reported by my colleague. But of course, the eye of the storm not very far from the coastline at the moment. Jakho port is where in fact Cyclone Biparjoy is expected to make landfall. Brijesh Doshi is also joining us live. He is in Devbhoomi Dwarka district of Gujarat at the moment. Just taking from what Ashutosh was reporting about. Okay, we'll try and reconnect with my colleague Brijesh. Brijesh is reporting from Dwarka. Ashutosh is in Mandvi, which is a beach town in the Kutch district. Kutch is expected to face the maximum impact of Cyclone Biparjoy as it makes landfall. Now, the eye of the storm is expected to be at around 120 to 130 kilometers from the Jakho spot where in fact it is expected to make landfall. Let's give you a sense now of this cyclone as it is progressing and making its way towards the Gujarat coastline. Already, of course, you're noticing that there are high wind speeds that are being faced over there by the people who are on the ground. Of course, authorities have to do their job. They're on the ground already. But as far as, the cyclone is concerned, let's give you a sense of how the trajectory has been so far. So we're talking about the cyclone. As you can see, this is the area. It is already approaching. That's the eye of the storm, if I can tell you. That is the eye of the storm as far as the cyclone is concerned. It has been moving progressively over the last few days. Let's give you a sense of how it has been moving. So here's the trajectory as we're showing it to you. It starts from Sunday and it has moved all the way up, and this is where the eye of the storm is at the moment. This is along the Gujarat coastline. As you can see, Dwarka is in the red over here. So expected to be maximum impact as far as the cyclone is concerned. There's Jamnagar, Junagadh, which are also bracing themselves, and this is Nalia. It's not very far from here where the eye of the storm is, and it's expected to make landfall. This is the Gujarat coastline as you're looking at. The landfall is expected to be anywhere between Mandvi in Kutch in Gujarat and Karachi in Pakistan, which is over there. Let's give you a sense now of how it is moving. As you can see, this is how it's expected to move. That's the eye of the storm as it's moving right now. This is how it will keep progressing. So tomorrow, this is where it's expected to be, in this area at about 11 a.m. in the morning. And now then, of course, by Saturday, by the 17th at about 11 a.m. Bhilwara, Rajasthan. Remember, it will move into the Kutch area of Rajasthan, where the wind speed would have in fact come down Kota as it's crossing. And then, of course, it will bring down the wind speed, and it will, of course, weaken as far as the cyclone is concerned. But this is, in fact, the trajectory. It is here, right about here, near Nalia at the moment in Gujarat. Ashutosh is joining us live. Ashutosh is joining us live from Mandvi in the Kutch region. Ashutosh, again, just to give us a sense of how the situation is on the ground right now. Anytime the cyclone is expected to make landfall, what is the situation on the ground at the moment, Ashutosh?
And Paulami, this would have probably happened as we speak, because we need an official update from the Met Department. But by now it would probably have hit the epicenter where it was expected to make a landfall. As far as the impact that we see, clearly since morning we are witnessing the impact, and now it's gradually increasing. In fact, since morning the wind speed was on and off, reducing or increasing. But for last 1 hour, more than 60-70 minutes, we are seeing a constant velocity of the wind, which is slightly increasing every 10-15 minutes. That's of course, you can see in these images. Even I'll be barely audible to you, but somehow we're trying to bring out these ground reports and the images from here, from Mandvi port. Of course, the rain has stopped, and since morning it has been playing on and off. But when the landfall takes place, of course, as the expert believe, since the speed maximum expected around 140 kmph, and gradually it is shifting the directions by 10 km/h. So the epicenter, which is located around 130 km from Mandvi port radiously, so it will take certain hours to hit the coastal line, and which the time could be potentially around 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, and that's exactly in less than a couple of hours there will be high tide season. And that's the biggest concern for the authorities, for the NDRF, for all the agencies who are in a mission to ensure save maximum lives, save maximum public assets. You already heard the maritime member Kuldeep Singh, who said about risk assessment that was done, and risk assessment was done in the basis of the high tide and of course the wind speed, because if that is hitting the city, what all infrastructure could probably be impacted by that, including in the telecom towers, mobile towers, electricity infrastructure, kacha houses, and the rural areas, which is located at the left and both sides of this creek. But most likely, because the rural people, the poor people, the marginalized community from the fishermen community, those who have been living on the just other side. So where we have the maximum number of the kacha houses, those people probably would be at the receiving end of the cyclone worse. And also I can see some communication towers. Though some certain arrangements were done, this is shifting of these towers cannot be just a job for the couple of days. So of course, as for now, only the risk assessment was done, and post the activities, because probably midnight while people will be really sleeping, when they wake up early in the morning, they will potentially see the havoc caused by the cyclone Biparjoy. But for now, only when just bracing for the impact, all authorities are on standby. So far, we haven't heard about any major damage in the town. The ground report suggests that barely few trees were uprooted by the wind speed, but it is just the beginning. This is merely 70 or 80 kmph wind speed. This is gonna be, while at the coastal is concerned, gonna be up to 110, 120 kmph. And in that case, literally make things terrible here in Mandvi or even the nearby coastal areas. Follow me.
Okay, so at the moment, of course, there hasn't been much damage, Ashutosh, is what you're telling us, that has been reported, other than, of course, certain instances of trees that have been uprooted as a result of the blowing winds. But as far as the administration is concerned, you've been speaking about the risk assessment that they've done, Ashutosh. What is their sense of the damage which they're anticipating at the moment?
Mostly the communication towers, because as far as electricity is concerned, already disrupted in the town. So anticipating this, the havoc and the wind speed, they already disconnected the electricity line in most part of the city. Of course, and the emergency, be it the Nagar Palika or the hospital, they have ensured the power supply with the help of generators and of course all these arrangements. So that was already taken care. As far as certain infrastructures are concerned, you cannot just undoing or lower down the entire mobile tower just in a day. So the first priority of the administration was to rescue people, to evacuate them. That was done, and even as we speak, certain look at these units of these vehicles which are continuously patrolling with the help of policemen and the other departments. So they are continuing patrolling along the coastal lines, because you never know, some over-adventurous people or someone just goes and take a round across the and suddenly report of the casualty. So administration of the authorities does not want to take any chance, and strict message have also been given to the people that do not venture out near the ocean, near the seashore. So at the moment, of course, things are on standby. We haven't heard about any major damage. Of course, the uprooting of the trees is just ordinary process during the cyclonic activities, and when it comes to the as severe as 130 kph like this cyclone, clearly the damage would be potentially huge, but it will be only known after it passes through. And worst will be, what is more my matter of concern is by midnight there will be the high tide situation right behind me in this creek and the ocean, and subsequently there will be highest the peak velocity of the wind of this cyclonic activity. So that could be potentially really a matter of concern, and that too in the night when you clearly have a no visibility, and then you have to literally run around for offering maximum help if possible. QRTs are in place, agencies are in place, so we can only wait and watch and expect that there will be not really much damage in this part of or anywhere across western Gujarat where the impact is expected.
Okay, Ashutosh, stay on with us. We're getting some live pictures as well. These are coming in from Jamnagar in Gujarat, where again the cyclone and its impact are likely to be felt as well. So Jamnagar is bracing itself for the impact of Cyclone Biparjoy as well. We'll try and get in a live report from Jamnagar as well. But our colleagues are spread out across the coastal belt as far as Gujarat is concerned. They're at the epicenter itself as they brace themselves, and all of these coastal districts brace themselves for the impact of Cyclone Biparjoy, which is expected to make landfall anytime this evening, and the process of it will be felt up until midnight. And like Ashutosh was pointing out, it's possibly only tomorrow morning when the residents of this area wake up, they will realize, of course, the true extent of damage and devastation that Cyclone Biparjoy leaves behind in its wake. Ashutosh, coming back to you, you of course said that the administration has not evacuated the people in Mandvi who live in concrete pakka houses, even if they're within the 2-kilometer radius of the shoreline. Is that a risky decision that the administration has taken, or is that calculated based on how they assess the situation to pan out?
Well, following even certain orders from the administration are placed, they are well calculated, including the risk assessment that is done. So when it comes to the Pakka houses and in the 2 kilometer of the periphery or 2 kilometer radius of the sea line or the seashore, so clearly when you have a Pakka structure, there is potentially less chances of such major damage, because these houses, if you just an example, if you see, they are not multi-stories, they are barely 2 stories building, or behind though you see, there are multi-stories building as well, 3 stories or 4 stories building, and mainly dominated are the fishermen community who have the kacha house are of course taken. I have seen those shelter houses where the women and children have been taken place. But those who have a pakka houses, at least from the 2 kilometer of the vicinity of the shore, they because they do not fall under such threat category, and administration itself said that probably there not be much really damage, because there is no chances of the flooding of those areas despite being low lying. And if that is the case, since we know the QRPs are placed on standby, and when the water starts entering in the village, in that particular area of Sayala or any other part, then there will be alarm raised, and those the process of evacuation or the rescue that will immediately take place. But for now, since the assessment was done and the first priority was to take those people living in the Kacha house, and it's a very close proximity of the seashore which will be directly impacted by. So that was the first priority, that was done. Still we have certain people living inside the Pakka houses, there will be potentially lesser damage, or probably it will be neutralized because of the structure that is in the village, in the houses. So that was well calculated and the decision was taken. So because it is just the initial stage of the cyclonic activity we are seeing, since this morning the weather has been really disrupted, and since this morning we are seeing a turbulent weather. But it is just a beginning of before the peak comes, which will be around 4 to 5 hours from now, and then we have to see the risk factor, all the real impacts on the ground.
Ashutosh, give us a sense a little bit of the patrolling that you were telling us along the seashore that was happening, and the teams that are on standby at the moment.
Well, the NDRF and other authorities, because this is a long seashore, if you see, it follows from Mundra and then goes to further to the area which will be the epicenter of the ice storm. But here you see, all I can see, the police forces have been placed here. Of course, because of few journalists reporting here, so that is also for their safety. We have been advised to maintain certain distance from edge of the platform of this port. So this is the port. There you see these policemen are patrolling, and there is another team of the police force who have gone to the other side. And remember, this port, there is also significant damage caused to this particular port, which is the custom house now at the moment, also of this was a maritime port. Because of the high wind speed and the current that the sea surface had, because of the seashore, there was potentially damage, and part of this was literally, gone with the water. So we have been strictly advised not to venture on. And if you see, that area has clearly been deserted. We have been reporting till afternoon from that particular pocket. Now there is only a police jeep and the patrolling party which has advised us not to venture. The senior officials taking around, and every place where could be possible presence of human being, which is the one only this port that you have only the journalists reporting from. So they are maintaining all the precautions, all the steps, guidance being issued. In fact, now the police have asked us to vacate this area, because this is an open terrain, and the wind speed, when it increases, certainly the administration does not want to take any chance. You gradually see in these images, the media persons have been asked to vacate these premises. Of course, these all are preventive measures, so you have to give a certain time before we place ourselves somewhere else. We have been advised to vacate this area. This is all again preventive measures being taken by the administration following.
Okay, Ashutosh, take your time, get yourself to a safer place. Of course, abide by the guidelines of the authorities on the ground over there. Those are pictures also that we're getting you live from Junagadh in Gujarat at the moment. As you can see, as far as Pakka houses are concerned, they are quite secure. As Ashutosh was saying, that's the risk assessment that the administration and the authorities have done on the ground. At least that's the case with Mandvi. But as far as Kacha houses are concerned, remember that the meteorological department and other officials and experts have also said that they are definitely going to get caught up in the eye of this storm. And as you can see, that's damage already on the ground as far as these Kacha mud houses are concerned, those with tin roofs, plastic roofs. They, of course, if they're anywhere close to the coastline, then clearly there is the impact of cyclone that they are likely to feel.
उसके अलावा हमने मरीन पॉल्यूशन टीम जो है हमारी, वो भी हमारा काम है, हम नोडल एजेंसी हैं, अगर सी में कुछ होता है वो हमने अपने तैयार करके रखे हुए हैं डिफरेंट प्लेसेस में। जो हमारे मुंद्रा, जखाऊ और वादीनार, ये 3 जो नॉर्थ गुजरात में, और ओखा, हमारे 4 स्टेशन हैं, वहां पे हमने अपने सीनियर ऑफिसर जो वहां के लोकल कमांडर्स हैं, डीआईजी रैंक ऑफिसर्स हैं, उनको सचेत किया है। और मुंद्रा में हमने यहां से एक स्पेशल डीआईजी भेज दिए हैं, बिकॉज वहां पर एक हमारे कमांडेंट साहब जो हैं वो सीओ हैं वहां के, लेकिन हमने सोचा कि एक सीनियर ऑफिसर वहां जाएगा तो उन्हें स्पेशली भेज दिया है। तो ये तो हमारा अभी तक का जो काम रहा इस प्रिपरेशंस में, ये रहा। राज्य सरकार से हम लगातार संपर्क में हैं, बट अब जो ये लैंडफॉल होने वाला है 1800 से 2000 के बीच में हम लोग एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं। उसके बाद की स्थिति को जानते हुए हम लोगों ने करीब 15 शिप स्टैंड बाई रखे हुए हैं, 7 टोटल एयरक्राफ्ट हमने रखे हुए हैं तैयार। जो हमारा स्टेशन है कोस्ट गार्ड एयर स्टेशन दमन, वहां पर भी हमने स्पेशल।
Okay, so that was A.K. Harbola of the Indian Coast Guard, who was briefing the media about the arrangements and preparations that have been made by the Coast Guard. 15 ships on standby, at least 7 aircraft have also been kept on standby. All teams are spread out across the area, which is expected to face the impact of Cyclone Biparjoy. And the Coast Guard, as Mr. Harbola was stating over there, is also in touch with the state administration continuously, because the state government is of course the nodal authority, and all other agencies are coordinating as we speak with the state administration. We're going to stay on this story. Our rolling coverage of Cyclone Biparjoy, as it's expected to make landfall along the Gujarat coastline, will continue on the other side of this very short break. Leaving you with these images.
You are watching India Today.
Traveling from different parts.
Armed with facts,
Looking at political back.
she takes the news by its horns.
Do you think the future of these students are not hampered?
Fierce, bold, and direct, setting the tone for the biggest stories from every corner and every angle. Expect nothing but the unfiltered truth.
News first, niceties later. Watch me, Nabila Jamal, on India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Why does this happen? Let me tell you the science behind it.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today News Mode.
You are watching India Today.
News coming in right now. Biparjoy to make landfall now between 6 to 8 p.m. So that's the update that's coming in from the meteorological department that Biparjoy's cyclone is likely to make landfall between 6 to 8 p.m. this evening along the Gujarat coastline, and that landfall is to continue till midnight. So that's the latest update which is coming in. Wind speed and heavy rains will, of course, escalate during this period, but as it makes landfall, it will reduce. The wind speed is expected to reduce to about 115 kilometers per hour. It's expected to go up to about 150 kilometers per hour at its peak. But that's the latest update which is coming in from the weather department and authorities who are monitoring the trajectory of our cyclone